Good morning. It is bitbudha back again with another episode of the Blacks in Cybersecurity podcast. And today we have Dominic, who is a SOC analyst who has been in the space for like a while. So I just wanted to ask him how he got in the space and his experience so far. So I'll let you introduce yourself as well.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Hello, everybody. My name is Dominic Alegrete. I'm from Los Angeles, California, and I currently reside in San Diego. As far as getting into the tech industry, I like to say my path has been very untraditional. I started this journey at 17 years old while being a senior in high school. During that time, I was able to participate in a cybersecurity internship program. That internship was more on the defensive side of cybersecurity. So you can think cyber threat intelligence, threat analysis, and just other things that have to relate to the defensive side of cybersecurity. I then took that hands-on experience that I had, worked really hard. I became a lead intern, and then that led to me landing my first tech role, which was a systems analyst position at a Fortune 500. And I did all this before graduating high school. I then worked that role for about a year and a half. Once the contract was up, I kind of kicked it into overtime mode and pretty much just went as hard as I could. I went to different conferences. I really built my presence on LinkedIn and my own personal brand. And then I also got some of the necessary certifications that I needed to get to show my qualifications. And then around November of last year, that's where I landed my first cybersecurity role as a SOC analyst. And I'm 21 years old now, and it's kind of been history ever since.
Wow, you came in swinging, brother. Jeez. So that's a lot of experience and such like a for like us, it may seem like a short amount of time, but for you, I know it probably feels longer or shorter for you. But so going at 17, right?
Mm-hmm.
How did you? First of all, I want to commend you for your discipline at that age because at 17,
Right.
I was nowhere near thinking about any of this type of stuff. So what even brought it to your mind and consciousness at 17? And how did you even stay disciplined at a time? Because, at that time, it's like usually a lot of partying, going out,
Yeah.
dating, and a third. So how did you stay disciplined at such a young age? And what even brought it to your mind?
Yeah, I've always been, I think, wired a little differently. Like I was always a kid that was waking up at 4 or 5 a.m. just to having his clothes on already with his backpack for school. Like I think it's
Wow.
just something that was already like built into me, and then I saw it through my parents. But as far as just like liking it and the technical aspect, my dad had actually introduced me to one of my mentors, and he kind of just showed me what cybersecurity is. Because before that, we just think it's hackers and a hoodie, but
Yeah.
in reality, there's so many elements to it. And just the freedom aspects he was telling me about, and how if you take it serious, you can kind of use it as a vehicle to put yourself in a better position. And then the fact that it's always changing every single day, and it's not really boring per se, that's kind of what got me hooked towards it. But nah, it's definitely something that I've been interested in and I love and have a passion for. I've always had a passion for tech.
Mhm.
And to answer the last part of your question again with the discipline thing, I think just in my senior year, I was just very, very driven. Still am, but there was a lot of other personal things that I was trying to accomplish during that time. I played sports, so I was trying to make my basketball team. So I think that discipline carried into the internship and then allowed me to thrive to where I'm at today.
Wow. Yeah, and definitely shout out to your parents. I definitely want to hear a bit about their like background as well. Because even say, well, first your dad gave you the mentor, so that's beautiful. But then on the discipline and waking up early side, you said that you kind of saw that from your parents as well. So like,
Mhm.
what is the background of your parents? Like, what values do you feel like they instilled in you?
Yeah, my parents are entrepreneurs. They've been there that for a long time, especially my father. He's been in entrepreneurship for about, 20 plus years now. A lot of his background comes in like sales, and then my
Mhm.
mom's background is more about like management and operations and things of that nature. But just seeing them, get up each and every day and sacrifice the things that they needed to do to make sure me and my siblings were able to, one,
Mhm.
accomplish the things we want to go after, and two,
Mhm.
just making sure that we didn't have to worry about the little things that they may have had to worry about when they were growing up. So I definitely thank them for what it is that they did for us, for sure.
Wow. Yeah, definitely a shout out to them. And yeah, a SOC analyst. So like tell it. So I feel like people getting in the industry, right? You hear
Mhm.
titles, but it's sometimes hard to visualize like what do they actually do, right? Even if you Google like what they actually do, it's sometimes even hard for you to visualize what they do. So like if you could just give us like a rundown on like what
Mhm.
is a SOC like analyst and how does your day-to-day look?
Yeah, for those that don't know, a SOC analyst stands for Security Operations Center. So it can either be, it's pretty much the environment or the team that is working in the SOC. So it's either, it can be remote, it can also be in person. I personally work remote, but as far as like what a SOC does each and every day, we're pretty much the first line of defense when it comes to security. So we're looking through different networking logs, we're looking through different systems to just make sure that the events and the actions that are happening on the network are what they need to be. And for me, I work at an MSSP, so we provide security services for other people. And within that, that requires me to be in different environments. So I may be in a Splunk, I may be in Elastic, I may be in, Microsoft's cloud, because that's where the tickets are at for that specific customer. And pretty much we're going through these tickets. It's a lot of like analysis, a lot of writing, and then pretty much you're in these tools 24/7, just looking at the different networking logs, querying and searching things up, and then or then writing our analysis and then sending it to our boss. And then if it does need to get escalated, we'll then work with the proper team to do so. But it's a lot of like writing, a lot of researching, and a lot of analysis work as far as what a SOC does.
Wow. And that's really, really cool because I have like a bit of SOC training. So I kind of know that realm a little
Mhm.
bit. So like with the SOC analyst role, is this like so when you're in cyber, what was your like North Star or what was like the role title that you're reaching? So is it like a SOC analyst or you're building towards like a different career path? Or is this like kind of like a stepping stone for you or
It's a little bit of both. I definitely want to stay on the defensive side of
yeah,
cybersecurity.
yeah.
I want to try to get into more of like an incident response type of role where it's a little bit more hands-on,
Right.
and that's kind of where I'm trying to take that as far as that goes, and then obviously trying to become like a senior analyst over time.
Well, that's cool. And so yeah, we clearly see you're super deep in cyber like already. And like you said, you were 21, right?
Yeah.
Bruh, that's amazing. You don't understand how amazing that is to me. Because like I wish I saw more people around that age just like being as disciplined and focused as you, honestly. So that's definitely like amazing. But also like outside of tech, right? Outside of cyber, what do you
Mhm.
like to do? This is a cool question I always like to ask. So say you had a week, right? Not
Right.
even, let's say you had a month, right? You had a month and you were given like $1 million, right? And you had all like your bills are paid. You didn't have to go into work. All your friends and family were good, right? And you only could spend this time with yourself with this $1 million in a month, right? What would you be doing?
That's a. I'd probably just be traveling. I think
Yeah.
that's one of the things that I like to do. Definitely would try to go out like the country and just explore, because just
Mm.
getting exposed to those different cultures definitely can help you grow in different aspects, make you more
Yeah.
humble, make you more grateful for things, but then also makes you more appreciative. So I think I'd probably just be traveling and try to just help my parents with whatever it is that they need. They've given me so much, so I would just want to be able to repay them with that. And then I'm a big like sports fan, so I would definitely try
Sweet.
to go to like some basketball games or
Sweet.
football games and sit courtside. But that's kind
Yeah.
of what I would do.
That sounds like so much fun. Though. That's definitely cool. Because actually, I went to my first football game
Hmm.
yesterday. Actually, my first football game ever. Because I'm in Arkansas and they were having the homecoming stuff, so it's pretty cool to see all of that stuff. And in terms of your mentorship, because you said that you had a mentor and you also like an intern as well. So how was that experience for you, like having a mentor? And have you mentored others, or just what is your view or your experience in that, like mentor or mentee experience?
Yeah, I've had multiple mentors over my time, but as far as the one that I had when it came to that internship, it was great. I think mentors are very important because they've gone through what you've already are doing, and they
Yeah.
kind of can help you save time, money, and just give you little tips and tricks that can excel your career that you may not get through like a typical, college degree or certification. So they definitely helped. And then the mentor that I did have, when it pertained to that internship, he was very helpful. He showed me the ropes. He, took me under his wing and really showed me what cyber was all about. And, I thank him for instilling those fundamentals into me.
Mm.
And as far as like mentorship towards others, I'm starting to do that. I have like my own calendar link now, and I opened up like 3 slots a week, and pretty much that's when I'm gonna start mentoring people. So I'm definitely excited. I always get people in my DMs asking me, "Hey, can you help me with this, or can you mentor me in this?" And I just look at it as like a full circle moment, because I
Right.
still ask for mentorship, but I remember when I was first starting and
Right.
I was trying to get as much information from others as possible. So it's definitely a full circle moment for me, and I enjoy it.
Wow. Yeah, that's like beautiful. Like those full circle moments are beautiful because it's beautiful to pay it forward, right? Because we have people who help us on our journey, and to be able to like share the same wisdom or knowledge or perspective that we got from our mentors is definitely a beautiful full like circle moment, as you said. And you said you're in San Diego, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how is the tech scene over there? Because earlier you were saying that you've been going to a lot of events and conferences. So how is the tech or cyber scene in San Diego?
It's pretty good. It's more like a military city. I live actually
Oh,
behind like a base, which is
wow.
called Camp Pendleton, but
Wow.
it's more like military. I would say there is some good elements to it where you got to go like to downtown where you can find some of these conferences, but a lot of the scene is like IT as well.
Mm.
But for my conferences that I've gone to, I've just had to travel to the East Coast, which I'm fine with.
Right. Yeah, and you were speaking about like it's a military city, so you probably know because I saw you were at what is it called, the Gov TechCon, right? So if you could just like speak about that a bit, because like I'm seeing, I would say this, I didn't know how deeply embedded the government was in cyber until I started
Mhm.
to get into it. And I'm like, oh, like a lot of these frameworks is like these frameworks from the government to the military and cyber. It's kind of like a Venn diagram. It's like the government, the
Mhm.
military, and cyber, and they're
Right.
kind of all in the same space, but if you could just speak more about like the government side of things for people.
Yeah, for that conference that I went to, GovTechCon, it was pretty much a conference geared towards government tech. So there was a bunch of top level professionals that were in the industry and that were working at these government agencies. And it was pretty much just bringing everybody together to talk about the next steps and the trending things that are happening with government, whether that's AI, these different policies, and how to leave like your own legacy
Mm.
for the next generation. So it was definitely a great conference. I loved it. I got a chance to speak on it. I think I was
Wow,
the youngest
that's
panelist, so I was definitely grateful for that. Shout out to Simone Bees for the opportunity. And yeah, government tech is definitely, I think, the place to be. That's something that's my goal, and I really want to get there and definitely do like government contracting and then see where
amazing.
that takes me and try to get to the highest level with these federal agencies like the FBI or CIA. But government's definitely important. It's definitely the backbone of the industry,
Mm.
and it's kind of what runs everything.
Wow, that's like amazing, honestly. Because I was seeing because one thing I want to we are going to speak about this in a bit, but I'm always seeing you post everything on like either it's Instagram, LinkedIn. It's like I'm always seeing you like content, and that's actually what made me reach out to him. I'm like, this better. He's active. Like every time I see him, he's some conference, some talk. So it's definitely beautiful to see that you just even outside of this like all right. So being passionate to study a thing by yourself is one thing. Being passionate enough and adamant enough to go to conferences and speak, that's a whole other like level of it. So there's definitely much respect for that. So you're keen on staying the government like route, like that's your key, like getting all the clearances and going up as far as you can. And I wanted to ask, with the company you're with now, is it connected to any government agencies? Like, do you have a clearance with them, or that's where you're going in the future?
Where I'm going in the future, I think they have some like government contracts, but the
Mm.
people that have clearances on the team are the ones that get assigned that classified work. So,
Okay,
but
got
yeah, I
it,
definitely see that in the future, just trying to get there.
got it. And there was the other conference I saw you share as well was Black Black and Tech, I think it was, or something like that, right?
Yeah, it's called BEA, so becoming everything you are.
Yeah.
It's like a student-based conference. It has over like 10,000 people, so
Oh
it was
wow.
definitely a great conference. I love those type of conferences because it's geared strictly towards the students, and they kind of allow you to be a professional for the few days that you're there, get to network
Wow.
with other students, but then also get in touch with recruiters and just things
Yeah.
that you may not get a chance to do if you're at a different conference.
Okay. And that's like beautiful. And so say someone is just now getting into cyber and they're thinking about, oh, I should probably go to a conference. So what cyber conferences do you recommend in general? And how do you think that they could get the best out of it when they go? Like, is there any like technique or like a checklist you got to do before going to these conferences? Or what would you recommend someone who's just now about to start going to these conferences?
Yeah, I would say the first thing is I like to say start small. So before you even get to conferences, try to build up some type of experience because yes, it's okay to go to these conferences, but if you have nothing to offer, then you're kind of, wasting your time in a sense. You could still go to
Yeah.
like learn, but you shouldn't spend so much money if you know you're not going to get the best out of it. So I like to say start small with LinkedIn,
Yeah.
build your platform, network on there first, and then also start going to different networking meetups within your city. Unless you live in Antarctica, I'm pretty sure there's going to be something that you can go to that may be tech related. It may not be your specific domain, but you can still go out and practice networking.
Right.
And then once you gain confidence and a bit of that experience, that's when you can start going to these other types of conferences. Some good ones. I know GovTechCon mentioned before, Techsgiving. If you're a student, Bay is definitely a good one. I know another good one is like Render ATL. And then there are like the bigger ones like your DEF Cons or your Afrotechs. Those are all good as well. But I definitely recommend starting small with those, with the networking, with the LinkedIn, with the local meetups, and then going towards those bigger conferences. And then as far as like the last thing when it comes to like having a checklist, I always say make sure you do your research on who is coming to the conference, whether that be companies or people. If it's a person, try to build a rapport with them. Go on LinkedIn, see if there's anything that you can relate to them with, and then just start trying to message them beforehand. So then by the time you get to the conference, you guys have already built a little bit of a relationship, and then it makes that in-person interaction that much easier. And then as far as the actual companies that are there, I would go onto their job boards and just see what type of roles that they have. Come prepared with your resume, whatever business card that you have. I personally use like a dot card, and just make sure you're fitted and well dressed. And when you go to those booths, speak with confidence, just be yourself and ask them like, hey, I've seen this role on your job board. I would love to know if it's still open. Is there anybody here that can help me? And I think that just shows that you're more prepared instead of just going up to them saying, hey, do you have a job?
Right. Yeah, that's genius, honestly. And I would recommend that in general, especially to reaching out before you go there, because even outside of conferences as well, just meetings in general. If you even inside your company with a different company, people in general, if you know you have a meeting or you're going to be with people physically or virtually, reaching out to them on LinkedIn is like so smart. Like it's so smart, because as you said, you build that rapport with them. So this makes the entire thing much smoother. And I also wanted to hear about your college experience as well, or like how was that time for you?
Yeah, again, untraditional. I do full online classes right now, so I'm currently getting my associate's degree in cybersecurity. So I should be finishing that up in another semester. And then from there, thinking about doing WGU, and then I definitely want to try to go for my master's, but do that in person because I haven't been in person in school since 2022. So like I'm kind of itching to just go back there and just be around like my peers, because a lot of times being in cyber, being the youngest person, you're not around your peers a lot. And it's not really discouraging as much as it was before, but sometimes you just want to hang with people your age and be able to relate to the people that you're with.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, because especially after COVID, and especially like in 2025 now, everyone wants, either they want remote or they're doing really like remote, right? But then there is still that value in physical. Like there is still value in going to these physical events, going to the physical office, because the things that it's like a seesaw. There's benefit to doing the remote, and then there's benefit to being physical, right? And there's pros and cons to both. But as you said, just being around people who you like just vibe with, and they're the same like age range is like beautiful as well. Because even in because I'm fairly young, so I'm still in my 20s, and a lot of the cyber people around, they're like 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. I'm like, oh shoot, like I feel like the freshman in like high school, So it's like it's cool to just be around people around just seeing like age range as well. So that's very smart. And yeah, definitely the masters and all that stuff is very, especially for the government stuff you speak about, because college wasn't on my radar too. But once I learned that the government cares so much about it, that's what made it is putting it on my radar too. So I'm planning to go back to WGU as well. So we'll probably be going into it at the same time, honestly, because I'm planning to start like next year. So we'll probably be doing it at the same time. So that's pretty cool.
For
And
sure.
yeah, and in regards to certifications, right? Because in tech, in cyber, in cyber especially, because the other parts of tech, I don't know. Well, from what I know about the other parts of tech, cyber requires way more certifications than any part of tech I know of, right? So
Yeah.
what certifications were like your first? Like, what certifications do you have, and like, what would you just like recommend in general?
Yeah, the first certification I got was Security Plus. I think everybody's heard of that one before.
Yeah,
I think it's a great baseline starter cert, gives
yeah,
you a foundation of cybersecurity and the different practices that are within it. And then from there, I think the best thing to do is understand like your niche. So what is it that you want to do? Because that'll determine what certifications you get after that. For me, I wanted to be a security analyst or SOC analyst. So within that, I had to do blue team type of certifications.
right.
And I kind of went like the tool based route. So I knew that with being a SOC, there's certain tools that you're going to have to use, like a SIM or EDR.
Yes.
So I wanted to, or even the cloud. So I wanted to tackle certs that would showcase my skills in those areas. So I went for the Splunk Core and Power User certification. And then I then did the cloud route and chose Microsoft and got the AZ900 and then the SC900, which is like the security fundamentals. And then I got the CYSA once I started my job in around February this year. So those are kind of the certifications that I got. I think certs overall are really good, but you just have to take the time to actually learn the material and not just try to guess or master the questions and memorize things. But if you really pay attention, really implement things, do labs, and just take the necessary time to really understand what's going on within that cert, then it's going to help benefit you. And if you can pair that with some type of hands-on project, it just makes you stand out even more.
Yeah, 1,000%. No, I like agree with everything you just said. And also, if you could tell people, for the people who don't know what a SIEM and an EDR, right? We like know what like those are. But for people who are new to cyber, we don't know what it is. Could you just explain it to them really quick? And what are the most popular versions of it, or the most popular, versions of it? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. A SIM tool is a security information event management system. So pretty much this is the tool that's going to be monitoring the different events or actions that are happening on the network. So it can be anything from a file transfer to you maybe clicked on a link. All those events get put into that tool, and it's kind of the centralized place where you can just look at the different events and things that are happening with each user that's on the network. As far as the most popular like vendors for it, think of Splunk, Elastic, Microsoft Sentinel is a big one. I know Datadog is in there too. And then as far as EDR, this is an endpoint detection and response tool. So endpoints are anything that's connected to the network. So think of like a printer, a computer, a phone, and pretty much it's a tool that's protecting each individual endpoint. And it's looking for anything on that specific device that may be malicious or unusual. And if there are those things, it'll then detect it and then respond to that specific issue. And I know the big players in those is Sentinel-1, Carbon Black, and CrowdStrike. And then I know there's some few others as well.
Yeah. Yeah, all of that stuff is very, very much needed. Because I remember Sentinel-1, I was being trained on that a bit, and it shook me how many endpoints or devices they would call it that like they track. Like they were tracking like hundreds of thousands of them, and I'm like, how are you tracking hundreds of thousands? Because you like know they have these little like agents that they put on the device, and then it just kind of tracks the whole device. And I was like blown away. Like there's all these things in cyber. It's like you don't know what you don't know until you like someone shows you it, right? And I never even thought about that. I never even thought like, oh, how do they protect our devices? Because they literally put like little programs in it to just watch the entire device. And I was like, whoa, this is crazy. But yeah, all of that stuff is very, very fascinating, very, very cool. And outside of that, what like hobbies do you have? Because I know you said that you're a big fan of sports. I know you're saying that and traveling as well. But outside of that, what are your other interests and like what are your favorite sports teams as well?
Yeah, as far as sports go, I like to play basketball.
Mm.
I'm very into like fitness. I try to run every single day. I think I'm
Solid.
on like day 643 of running a mile or more in a row. So like
Wow.
I'm very dedicated and
Sheesh.
comes to that.
You said day 643?
Yeah, started last year in January, so just been trying
Oh,
to be
buddy.
strong and keep myself in shape. And
Wow.
then I'm also someone that, likes like the yoga and the meditation, and then also
Wow.
just like reading, whether
Yeah.
that's like self-help books,
Yeah.
the Bible, or, whatever I may come across. I'm always reading something. And then definitely like to go outside and spend time with family, go into nature.
Mhm.
So I kind of like to keep it simple. And
Wow.
then favorite sports teams, definitely the Lakers. Been a diehard fan for as long as I can remember.
Mm.
Football, I'm a Green Bay Packers fan, and then I
Mm.
don't really have a favorite sports team for other like sports.
Right. Well, that's like beautiful, honestly, especially like the like running part, like just being active. The running part, reading, family part, like all of that is like definitely spot on. And so tell me about your experience in terms of social media branding and marketing, because this is something I'm getting into as well, right?
Mhm.
So what is your philosophy or technique? Because I'm realizing like social media by itself is almost like art. It could be art or a science, right? Kind of depending upon who is using it. But for like, what platforms are your favorite? Firstly, and what is your like philosophy or not even philosophy, your habits, right, with each of them? Because you've been doing this stuff for like honestly, I think ever since I've been in cyber, I've been seeing you. Like ever since like the end of last year, I've been kind of seeing you ever since then. Like ages ago. So like when did you start? What are your favorite platforms, and what are your like habits to just keep that energy going?
Yeah, as far as I started, I've always had like a video production background. I did video editing and filming in high school, so that kind of gave me the ability and skill to edit and film my videos now. So I've always been used to being on the camera.
Right.
And for like my favorite, I would say apps, I don't think I really have one. I just try to post on every single one. I think if
Yeah.
I did have to choose one, it'd probably be LinkedIn because of how diverse it is with,
Yeah.
jobs and then how many people you can actually reach. That's my biggest platform
Mm.
to date. But as far as like my habits and, philosophies go, I've learned and, was told through my mentors and my dad and other people that you want to build your following on every single platform. You're not going to always have the same amount of numbers of following on every platform, but you want to build your audience on every single one because you never know what can happen with these applications, right? You may get banned or they may
True.
get shut down, right? We see what's
True.
happening with TikTok and how many creators were going to be out of a job. So they always said make sure you're posting on every single platform so you can build that audience just in case if something happens, you still have that following on,
Mm.
a different platform.
Mm.
As far as like my habits go, just being consistent and disciplined enough to film 5 days a week and post as much as I can. I think the more consistent you are, the consistency you put out is what's gonna get you noticed. And I've had a lot of people come up to me and be like, I respect the fact that you keep going and that you're doing it on a consistent basis. So that's kind of like where I go from that. And then a little bit of more habits. I try to get all my filming done in like a day. So I bulk film so then I'm not having to like edit or do things throughout the week. And then I'm pretty much using like ChatGPT or other tools to kind of help with descriptions and stuff to make sure they're hitting the right places and hashtags and things of that nature.
Uh, you just gave me a solid plan because it's like I'll be posting here and there, right? But you have a definitely like a methodology around it. And when you're first saying that your mentor and your dad were telling you to diversify on the different platforms, it's interesting because I feel like it's like a philosophical thing. But what you're saying is true because even me, like last week, my LinkedIn was hacked for like 2 days, and I couldn't even like reach out to you. So that was like literally critical. So these platforms can be taken down anytime, and that's also why I've been like building out a website because they said your Instagram can be taken down, your YouTube can be taken down,
Mm-hmm.
LinkedIn can be taken down anytime. So I feel like it's really important to just be able to reach your network outside of that. And that's why I'm starting to get people's like numbers more, people's like emails more. Because as you said, and as we've seen actually, like these things can be taken down anytime. So it's definitely very smart that you diversify. Because even with money, they do the same thing. Like if this stock goes down, you invest in this and this stock, you'll be fine. So that makes a whole world of sense. And the bulk fulfillment, that's very, very smart as well. And I think that's the smarter route to go. Because usually I just like a thought comes to mind, hey, post it. I just do it in like the moment, right? But if I take a Saturday or Sunday, I just bulk film it and then post it throughout the week. I think that'll just be more peace of mind as well. So I'm try that out and see how that goes. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It all helps. Kind of I like to say, do what works for you.
Right.
Definitely bigger things, and then that's pretty much it.
Yeah. So in terms of, so this is the other thing I've been gradually learning as well. In cyber, people are part of a lot of different organizations, right? Example, like Blacks in Cyber, we're here with Blacks in Cyber, right? But also, I'm a part of like other organizations in cyber too, right? And I see that a lot of people, a lot of my friends, they literally be in like 5 or 10 different organizations. So I wanted to know in your experience, like what organizations have you partnered with, or like have you had trainings or mentor experiences with, and like which ones would you recommend? Because I'm realizing there's like a lot of facets to cyber. There's like the certifications, the clearances, the college, the networking, and there's just also these like volunteer mentor mentee programs as well, right? So I wanted to hear if you have any experience with those type of things.
Yeah, outside of like my internship and stuff, I haven't really been in too many like mentorship programs in the sense of like a Blacks in Cyber or something like that big. But I've kind of been in like I've had different mentors and they've had like individual things.
Okay, I see.
I've been, a part of. I know one of them. It's not really a program, but one of my mentors, shout out Brandon Mitchell. He has a company called RightsV, and they have a platform called like Job Search Genius, which is pretty much like a AI job searching tool that helps you kind of automate that process. So I was able to do like a cybersecurity awareness training for his company and kind of just show them what are the dangers with cyber and how to like stay safe. And then I've been a part of like different like mastermind calls or little cohorts with different influencers, whether that be like Simone B's or some other people that are there.
Wow. No, like, and it's cool to see in everyone's route. Because I remember at the beginning you were saying that your route is kind of untraditional, but like these days, they have like a ton of different routes that people take. So it's just really, really fascinating to like see all of the different routes people take in this like industry. So, other question. So this is when you're out in the world, right? And then people ask what you do, and you tell them, "Oh, I'm a SOC analyst," right? And then you explain to them, "Oh, I'm in cyber," right? But in their head, they're like, "Oh, you're a hacker." Just so it's like it's either like at least my experience when I tell people I'm in cyber, they'd be like, "Oh, could you fix my router? Could you fix my password?"
I'm not a networking engineer. Right. You got to call AT&T for that.
Right, but it's like people from their view and like from what we know it is kind of different, right? So I was going to ask, where was I going to go with that?
Like, how do I explain it to them?
Yeah, how do you explain it to them, right? Because like no, and I'm also going to ask you about programming languages as well. Yeah, that's what I was going to ask as well. Because a lot of times people hear tech, and then in their head they're like, "Oh, I got to be programming all the time," right? So did you have to like learn any programming, and as well when you tell people you're a SOC analyst, like how do you explain it to them?
Yeah, I didn't have to personally learn coding. Like I it's not really my forte. It's foreign to me. I can work a little bit with Python and creating like basic things, but as far as like coding goes, I didn't have to learn anything for my job. And it all depends on what role you're trying to get into with cyber. If you want to go like, the DevSecOps route, you're probably gonna have to learn coding. If you want to be some type of engineer in cyber, then you're gonna have to know a bit of coding. But if you just want to be like a SOC analyst or go into GRC, you don't necessarily have to know how to code to get a role in there. And then as far as like telling people what I do, I usually don't even say like SOC analyst. I just say I'm in cybersecurity, and then if they ask a specific title, I'll tell them, and then I kind of just try to dumb it down as much as I can. I'll be like, I'm the guy who, is defending your network and make sure nothing bad, is happening with the first line of defense. And I'm looking through different logs or different places to make sure things are okay. So I kind of just put it as simple as I can.
Right. Yeah, because you got to just like put it in a way that they'll like just pretty much. But yeah, it's interesting because I think a lot of people when they hear tech, they're like, oh, programming. Like even I was speaking to my friend, she told me her dad was a programmer. I found his LinkedIn and he's like a system admin. I'm like, I mean, I get why people think they're like close. It's kind of like
it's shifting a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it's very, very fascinating. So what are your plans for like the rest of the year? Because we're in what Q3, almost Q4. We're at the end of the year pretty much, right? So what are your plans for the rest of the year and next year?
Yeah, as far as my plans go for the rest of the year, I do have a certification I'm trying to get. It's the AI 900 from Azure. And then I'm also coming out with a playbook called The Youngest in Charge. And pretty much it's a step-by-step on the things that I've done to get to where I'm at. And I'm just trying to help the next generation, not only become financially free, but be able to elevate themselves with their career along with their health and wellness. So those are, all three things that I feel are important that tie into your career. And I'm just creating this playbook and I'm in the process of it. Hopefully it gets put out November. That's the goal for it right now. And then outside of that, traveling overseas to Peru for a retreat, and I'm getting to do it with my dad. So it's something that I'm very excited for. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this year. And then next year, just continuing to build where I'm at, continuing to push the Youngest in Charge playbook and trying to, get more speaking engagements and just continue to like elevate, myself and hopefully get into the government sector by then.
Definitely. Wow. No, that's like beautiful. And with the AI 900 from Microsoft Azure, that's like an AI certification, or is that just like the certification number, or is it like an actual AI certification?
It's an AI certification. It's like a fundamental cert for Azure and being able to use like the different AI tools I think they have within there and kind of how it's structured in the infrastructure with it. But yeah, that's what it is.
Well, and they're using Copilot, right? I was saying, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. And then there's some other, I think, AI tools that are within there as well. So it's kind of understanding the ethics behind it and some other things too.
Wow. Because AI this year, AI has been, I always use the analogy, AI is like the cute person at prom that everyone is focusing on, but they don't see anyone else. It's like they only see this one person when there's a lot of cool stuff in tech, but AI has kind of been taking center stage, which is so everyone has to be at least AI aware, even if you're not an AI engineer or AI prompt engineer or AI foundational LLM scraper or whatever they want to call them. Even if you're not doing that, you have to know about AI in general. And so the Youngest in Charge playbook is it gonna be like an actual, like do you plan to make it like an actual physical book as well, or like how do you see it rolling out? Like, do you just see it being like online, or do you see it like an actual physical like text book as well?
It's going to be online, so it's going to be different like PDFs and things of that nature, but that's kind of where I'm going with it as far as that goes. I feel like since everything's going digital now, that's kind of where it's the place to be. So within each playbook, I'm just trying to give as much information as I can, but I'm not trying to do it like how other people do it, where they're just giving you links. I try to give tangible advice and show them like, hey, use LinkedIn, but this is how you use it.
Right.
Work on your resume. This is how you should structure it. And then I'm also giving them access to the mentors that I have within my network, because I know those mentors have helped me get to where I'm at today. So I'm just trying to provide as much value and gems as I can.
Wow. And that's like you're really giving back, and that's beautiful. Like once you're at a certain state and like you have all this knowledge and wisdom to share it with other people. And speaking about the future in general, so I'm gonna bring you super in the future. So say you're 21 now. So say when you're 31, right? What do you want your day in the life to be? Like what type of lifestyle do you want to have then? Like where do you think you'll be? What do you think you'll be doing? Like how was your life, or how do you want your life to, no, not even how you want, how will you make your life in 10 years from now when you wake up? Like how is your life flowing at that time?
Yeah, my goal by that time is to one, be financially free and be able to put my family in a position to where either they could retire or
So
they are just, better off and they can actually live and enjoy the fruits of their labor. And I also see myself working remote in cybersecurity somewhere. I don't know if it'll be for like government tech or one of these big five companies or even, an agency, who knows? But I do know that I will, be financially free and be, working still in cybersecurity. And then I also hoped by that time that I've been able to give back and, help hundreds or even thousands of students become the youngest in charge and help them just, better their own lives, because I feel it's cool if I eat, but, it's better if others around me can do the same. And I think
yes,
the reason or the way that I'm gonna be able to um, do that is one is just making the necessary sacrifices and being disciplined now. And I'm willing to sacrifice my 20s and not go party, not go drink, not go be with girls or anything to get to the level that I need to be at. So I know if I continue to make those sacrifices, put God first, and really go about it the right way, I know I'll be able to achieve the goals that I see myself getting into.
I got a class of that, bro. Like, no, shout out to your family, bro. They raised you amazingly. For you to be like this clear minded and just like disciplined at 21 is like, shout out to your parents. Like, after this, send this to your parents and like tell them I said shout out to your parents, because this is like, it's like beautiful. And I know, so yeah, shout out to your parents, as I was saying. And you were saying earlier, so you have siblings too. So are your
Mhm.
siblings, well, firstly, how many siblings do you have, and are they in a similar path as you, or are they going into like a different route, or like how do your siblings like relate to like you currently?
Yeah, I'm the middle child, so I got two siblings. I got an older brother, and then I have a younger sister. And my sister is about, I want to say, like 8 years younger than me, and then my brother is about 3 years older than me. They're both on different paths. Like my brother is doing like sales right now, and he's really doing well in that. And then my sister is at the their teenage years, right, 12, 13, where they're just trying to figure out what it is that they want to do. She's
Right.
definitely into sports. I think she's a natural when it comes to some of those things,
Beautiful.
and she's just trying to figure out what it is that she wants to do. And as an older brother, I'm never going to force her to try to be in cyber or force her to do certain things, but I'm going to at least show her through my actions and through my words, like, hey, if you want to get to the level that I'm at, you have to be willing to put in that work. So if I can show her where I'm on the computer or I'm out working out, then I hope that just rubs off on her. And then I've also taken the time to introduce her to cyber a little bit and put her with some of the people that I know, and just starting to get her with the fundamentals and basics down. And
Well,
I at least just want her to have this online safety awareness. She doesn't
yeah,
have to get into cyber if she doesn't want to, but as long as she
yeah.
knows what it is and the different safeties behind it, then she'll be okay.
Wow. Yeah, that's like beautiful. And definitely like leading by example is the best thing, because of course we can share our like words and wisdoms and our connections, but leading by example I feel like is the ultimate teacher. Like you can literally be like silent, but if you're doing big things, your family and friends and people around you will definitely pick up on that. And speaking about leadership, tell us more about like you getting into public speaking, because public speaking is something I could see myself getting into in the future. Because I
Mhm.
just think it's like a like this isn't public speaking, but it's like
The
speaking.
element of it.
Right? So it's like a one step like up from like this. But your advice about that and then like how did you get into it? Like how did you learn it and all of that?
Yeah, like you said, kind of seeing others around you doing it. Like my dad's been an entrepreneur for 20 plus years, and and he's been in video production. He had his own
Um,
company before, so like I've seen him, public speak. I've seen him go through the thought process and kind of show me like, hey, this is how I prepare for each public speaking that he may do. So just seeing that and kind of just trying to take little bits and pieces of it. And then I think just doing content, getting familiar with just being on camera and just talking. And I think as you get knowledgeable in that aspect, along with getting knowledgeable like in your own craft with cyber, because you, like you said, what you don't know what you don't know. And I think the more you practice on that aspect too, it allows you to be able to speak and talk about what it is that you've learned. And as far as getting into public speaking, my first actual public speaking gig was at GovTechCon. It was last year, and I had just landed my first cybersecurity role, and I had just, I mentioned it to them and, to Simone, and I was just like, hey, if it's cool, I know it's last minute, if I can come speak, because I was already going to attend it, but I was like, if I can be a speaker, kind of just be that person for the young generation and show them how I got to this place whilst being so young, only at 20 years old. I think they could, really benefit from it. And she said, of course, and it's kind of been history ever since. And then I had my one at BIC, and then I've had other panels that I've gone on that have been virtual that have definitely helped me grow with that.
Wow. You inspire me so much. I just gotta say that just in general, you inspire me so much because it's beautiful. Like there's a lot of opportunities out here, right? And I feel like sometimes people they have doubts, right? Like I've done coaching in cyber, and I realized it's cyber in general is a lot of stuff to learn, right? But then a lot of the psychological stuff people go through, like, oh, I'm too young, I'm too old, I'm too dark, I'm too light, I'm too poor, I'm too rich. Like all these things people make up, right? And I'm glad you didn't take you being young as like a blocker. You was like, no, I am young. That's why I should be speaking. Since I'm young, let me speak. Let me do this thing. So it's beautiful. You just had the boldness and the audacity to ask. Because I think a lot of times there's opportunities out here, right? But people are afraid to ask because they don't think that they're worthy or they don't think that they're this enough or that enough, right? But just being willing to ask and grow into it is and you know like this, like for business people, entrepreneurs, salespeople, this is essential. Like you got to be bold and just straightforward. Even if you miss, even if they say no, even if they say it's not the right time, the fact you still got to try. Either way, you still got to try. So it's definitely beautiful to hear. Having the boldness, but also the time and energy to actually learn and grow into it. I feel like both of those are definitely essential. Definitely.
Yeah, I think both of those are important. It wasn't always like that. I think in the beginning, you definitely have a little bit of imposter syndrome, especially being young. For me, it not necessarily wasn't I didn't think I was good enough. It was more so comparing yourself to others.
Right.
When you're young, or even when you're super, super old, you're like, oh, why am I not at the level they're at? Or, why am I not doing this? And, it took me a while to realize that everybody starts somewhere. That senior dev, that CEO, he was an intern just like you or she was. So you just have to take your steps, and everybody has to put their 10,000 hours in. And if you're consistent and are passionate, you'll be able to elevate and get to newer positions. But I think it's definitely a real thing, and I think everybody goes through it at some point.
Yes. Yeah, I think everyone goes through it, especially in this day and age of social media. You're especially on LinkedIn. Oh my God, LinkedIn! I love LinkedIn, but LinkedIn will give you it depends on how you take it, right? Because LinkedIn, every single time I log on LinkedIn, someone is graduating, they got a certification, they just started a business, just started a new job, and I'm like, damn, what am I doing? But more so as motivation, honestly, because I'm seeing all my friends are doing great stuff. I'm like, I know that person. They're in my team, they're in my company, right? So if they do it, and I spoke to them every single day, then I can do it. So take it as motivation. You can let all these stuff on social media make it be oh, I'm not doing that. Or you could act, and the beautiful thing about LinkedIn, I reach out to them. I'm like, hey, you got the certification. How long did it take you? How did you study for it? I'll be asking them questions, So a lot of people, they're open to sharing their knowledge too, So just don't say oh, they're doing this and I'm not doing this. Just ask them how they did it. Just ask them how they did it. So, but that's definitely beautiful. No, but we have a couple minutes left, but four more minutes, I think. But these last couple minutes, just share any cool events we have coming up or any cool projects, anything, everything you are doing makes you share. Here's a ton to share, all of that.
Yeah, as far as projects coming, like I mentioned before, the Youngest in Charge playbook, that's something that I've been working on for a while. Hope to release it in November, and it's just kind of my way to just give back and show the kids that are our age and that look like us that hey, you don't have to be a ball player or a rapper or do things you're not supposed to be doing to be successful. You can do it from the comfort of your own home, and if you build the right habits financially and with your health, you'll be able to take yourself far, because the reason why I wanted to include the financial aspect to the Youngest in Charge playbook along with the health and wellness, because I think those two get overlooked.
Yes.
It's cool to have the high paying job or the six figures, but if it's not managed right, then you're going to be living paycheck to paycheck. You're going to get taxed out like crazy, and if you don't have your health in order, then you're just going to break down and you won't be able to withstand or sustain whatever it is that you're doing. And it all starts now when we're young, when we have the time to be able to make these risks, and when we have the time to be able to recover from whatever health things that we have. So I just wanted to preach those things to the younger generation. As far as other things that I do have a monthly newsletter that I put out. I do it once a month, where I pretty much just give updates on my journey in cybersecurity and what it is that I'm just doing in life. And then I also put cybersecurity updates, put my content. I also give health and wellness tips within the newsletter. And then I also do other things like tool spotlights, or I'll put like different events that are coming up. And that's just my way to stay connected and updated with people. I definitely recommend people, once you've gotten enough experience, create a newsletter, because you go to so many conferences, you meet so many people, and you forget like who you met. So if at least you can get their email of the recruiter, of that person that spoke, you then have them in your network.
Yes.
And then they may see you over time, right? They may not read your newsletter every single time, but they may have seen you be an intern, and then you put out the newsletter monthly, and then 8 months later you're a pen tester, right? Or you're still looking, and they'd be like, hey, I seen that you've been working, I have a role for you, and here it is. And they saw that consistent effort. So that's what I try to do with my newsletter. It's something that I do once a month, like I said, and it's definitely helped me gain more of a following, but has allowed me to keep myself up to date with all my mentors, the recruiters, and whoever's within my network.
Wow. Yeah, like that was genius, brother. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your energy. Because I like this was like super inspiring, super motivated for me. So I don't know if that was the case for me. I know everyone watching this, you'll feel the same type of energy. So I definitely appreciate it. And we'll see you all next time.
For sure. Thank you so much for having me.